Sorry, you just caught me rehearsing today's script, and indeed that is what we are talking about on today's episode of Get a Better Broadcast podcast and video voice. Now, if you've ever watched Strictly Come Dancing or Dancing with the Stars on TV, I would imagine that you've never actually presumed that neither the pros nor the amateurs simply kind of rock up to the studio, take to the floor and perform faultlessly, immediately, without a problem. Yeah, in a similar way to the dancers having to kind of get their legs and their arms and their torsos and hips and heads and hands and everything to learn the routine in a kind of muscle memory, you have to rehearse your articulators, such as your lips and your tongue, to make sounds into clear words. It's what we might call mouth memory. Dancers don't learn to dance by watching a video of the routine. They get on the floor. They do it. You won't learn how to read aloud by simply reading the script in your head. You've got to read it out loud. And marking your scripts, which is what we've been talking about over the last few days, is the first step in kind of script familiarity. Now, some presenters mistakenly consider it some kind of bravado to sight read, but there are several reasons why it's a good idea to rehearse, not silently, but out aloud. Confidence comes from being comfortable with your material. Such familiarity will cause you to relax, your breathing to steady, your timbre to drop, and your overall presentation to improve. And it's very unlikely you'll be able to pass off your words in a conversational style if you've got no idea of the direction in which the story or the argument is heading. In a rehearsal, you'll not only get a sense of the story, you'll hopefully understand it, and why the different elements included are included. So therefore, pre-reading is essential if you're going to understand the full meaning of the script and effectively convey that to your listeners. If the audience gets the sense that you understand the story by interpreting it and communicating it clearly to them, you'll be perceived as more trustworthy. If you don't understand the story, pre-reading and rehearsing is the time to find out why. It could be that the reporter or scriptwriter has mistakenly left out a part of the story or a stat, in which case give them the chance to correct their copy. It could be that there is presumed knowledge on their part. I thought everyone knew that. Again, if you, the reader, don't know that, then maybe a good proportion of listeners don't either. And at this stage, the script may have to be rewritten, perhaps by the original author, or armed with the extra information, you may want to rewrite it for accuracy and fluency yourself. You can only really effectively find out where you will need to breathe when you get to read out loud by actually reading out loud. Simply reading with your eyes is less effective. You experience the mouthfeel of the words, the rhythm of the sentences. What looked good with your eyes just may not sound good. And rehearsing is a good opportunity, if allowed, to rewrite for easier articulation and your natural speaking style. And you get your mouth used to reading that exact combination of words. As I say, mouth memory. You get to see with your mouth what you didn't see with your eyes. Words which may cause a verbal slip or trip. Country and county. Uninformed and uniformed. Through. Though, thorough. And also you get to see those convoluted sentences, unintended rhymes and awkward pronunciations that we spoke about a few days ago. Or words which you thought you'd actually put in the script but aren't actually there when you go to read out loud. And reading aloud off air is also a great way to liven up the larynx and awaken your articulators. Yeah, to become more confident at reading out loud and to practice some of the exercises to a small audience before you go on air at a station or podcast, consider volunteering for Reading for the Blind or a talking newspaper charity. That will help them and will help you as well. Reading out loud will help you find the musicality of a script, the ebbs and the flows, the rhythm and the pace, the turns of phrase, rather than reading word for word. You know, good writers write with sound in mind, an ear to how words flow. Not just that they make sense, but that they're polished prose. Yeah, the great works of fiction and poetry are written that way, but you know what? Also scripts for commercials and news as well are written with how it's all going to sound, not just how it looks on a page. Back tomorrow with more on rehearsing and over-rehearsing. Bit of a problem with that as well. Subtle stuff, huh? From London, I'm Peter Stewart.